Hi everyone, so we're going to be building out a full Google Ads course for free on our YouTube channel. This first course is really for marketing managers, business owners, or anyone who wants to learn about Google Ads. It's going to be part theory, part actual technical UI work. So this first course is going to be breaking down ad auction and ad rank. So we could just jump right in. Okay, so the ad auction. So we need to understand exactly what the ad auction is before we can understand, how to pull the right levers in Google Ads, how to scale campaigns, and how to adjust bids. So Google Ads uses an auction system to rank ads that appear in the search results. And ultimately, this helps determine the cost for each ad click. And the order in which the ads appear on the page is also based on a calculation called ad rank. We'll discuss that further in the course. But ultimately, Google users want ads that are relevant, and they don't want to be bothered by ads that aren't related to what they're searching for. On the other hand, advertisers want to show relevant ads so that people actually click on them, right? So they actually get good results. Google has to balance the ecosystem of advertisers paying for inventory, but also users that are coming back to the platform. And the way they do this is through an auction system that weights both cost per click bids, but also your ad rank and your ad quality, right? And both of these factors are used in this auction system to give the user a high quality ad, but to also give the advertiser high quality users. Ultimately, Google wants to provide a good experience for both users and the advertisers, so both parties can come back to the service and the platform. The next week, the next month, right? They want to have recurring advertiser revenue as well as recurring search volume. So what is the ad auction? So Google uses this special version of a second price auction that takes into account more than just bids. So basically, the way the second price auction works is that if advertiser 1 bids $100 for lawyers in their area, and advertiser 2 bids $50 for lawyers in the area, advertiser 1 is going to win, but they're only going to have to pay $50.01. They only have to pay right above the second highest bid. And so that way, when you understand that, you can kind of understand how to calculate your costs a little bit better inside of Google. But basically, the auction system, right? You have to think about competitive pressure and search volume is going to determine how expensive your cost per click bid is. So think about it like supply and demand. The more supply of searches and the lower demand of advertisers, the cheaper those clicks are going to be. However, inversely, the lower the supply of searches and the higher the competitive pressure and demand, those are going to be very expensive keywords and very expensive bids to rank on the first page of Google. So how does cost per click and ad rank all factor into your ad position? Basically, your ad rank is your quality of your ad. So that plus your bid, your first page bid, will equal your ad position. I mentioned this before. You cannot just pay to get on the first page because you can have irrelevant information, and that ends up being a bad experience for the end user, right? So it's really vital that Google is able to qualify every ad using this ad rank. And then that's how you end up determining what your final ad position is. So we're actually going to jump into the UI really quickly just to show you how to determine where your ads are ranking in Google reports. Okay, so Google used to have an actual ad position KPI or metric where you could determine what your average ad position was, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2.3, right? Things like that. But they actually sunset that, and instead you have 3 top line metrics that can help determine really where your ads are. So you have your search impression share, and that's basically just how much are you serving compared to how many impressions in that marketplace, right? So if there are 100 searches a day for lawyers, and you have a 10% impression share, that means you're serving for 10 of those impressions. So that's a good gauge to understand the market cap on certain keywords or certain categories, right? So if you have a 60 to 70% impression share, you're pretty much tapping out on what that market can give you. So it's time to start to either expand into different categories or just try to expand your keywords, maybe change up match types to try to open up your range. Then you have impression absolute top position. Basically, this is going to tell you how many of the times, within your 10% of your impression share, are you serving at the very first spot. So if you're serving 55% absolute top impression share, that means out of every time you serve, over half of it, you're in the number one position. So usually that's the case when you have like a really intensive exact match keyword build out, right? Or your bids are really high, or you have single keyword ad groups, right? So, usually you're gonna see typically between 20 to 60% in that range. So this is definitely on the high end. And then impression top percent, this is also a metric that gets kind of lost, but is really important. I think it's even more important than absolute top. It's basically just measuring how many times are you above organic results. So if you see, this below 70, below 60%, basically it's saying, hey, 40% of the time you're below organic results, which basically means your viewability is almost zero, right? Who scrolls past the organic results to click on an ad? So you want to see this upwards of 80 and 90% just to ensure that you're in those top 3 to top 4 spots. So yeah, that's just a quick overview. Again, in this course, we're going to be jumping into Google Ads a lot, but in this first video, we're really just diving into the reports, and we're talking about theory and just all the the inner workings of the ad auction, ad rank, and ad quality. Okay, so now that we've jumped into the ad position to understand where your ad positions are in Google Ads, I want to talk about really why ad rank matters. And again, the ad with the highest rank ultimately gets the top position. Everyone, most advertisers are maxing out their CPC bids or the TCPA bids so they can bolster their ads. But the ad ranks that end up having the higher quality ads, more relevant, always are able to edge those big spenders. And so if you have a light budget or you're starting out, it's really important to understand ad rank, because that's a competitive advantage that sometimes small advertisers have the time to focus on. So more on ad rank, the 5 factors that determine where your ad ranks. I touched on bids. Basically, it's a supply and demand curve. You want to make sure your bids are always first or top of page bids. The second is your ad rank threshold. So this is, Google kind of has this metric in a black box, but basically ad rank threshold determines your ability to compete in an ad auction. Thresholds are determined dynamically at the time of each auction based on various factors, including your ad quality. And to help maintain a high quality ad experience for consumers, lower quality ads have higher thresholds. So basically, Google has an algorithm on how, the quality level of ads. And so when you publish an ad and it goes through a review process, Google is basically just determining very quickly based on their formula, is this ad going to have high relevancy, high click-through rate, is it relative to the keywords they're bidding on, and things like that, right? So the way you're able to bolster this metric is just to listen to Google when you're building ads, right? If Google is telling you that you need to add more keywords into your headlines, you should listen and try to get your ad strength up to excellent as much as possible. Okay, so context of queries. So with the ad auction, context really matters. Ad rank is calculated based on the search terms that people enter, person's location at the time of the search, and the type of device that they're searching on, right, like mobile or desktop. So basically, it's really vital that whatever people are searching, your keywords match that, your ads match that, your landing page matches that, right? So Google, again, this goes back to my original point. Google wants to give a good experience to both the advertiser and the user, but especially the user, right? So if you can create an ad, a campaign that has a really high context compared to what the users are actually searching, your ad rank's going to increase inevitably, right? Okay, so the fourth aspect to ad rank is going to be your ad extension impact. So extensions, are basically, it can be site links, it can be phone, it can be call out. There's a handful of extensions. Google seems to be adding a new extension type all the time, right? It's really important to add as many extensions as you can because if you, Google literally spells it out for you right here. If you add extensions to your ads, they're going to give you priority, right? So add your site links, add your phone numbers. It's a really easy thing you can do that will immediately impact your ad. And then the fifth thing is going to be auction time ad quality. So Google Ads also looks at how relevant and useful your ads are and the website it links to, right? So if people that are clicking on your ad and going to a landing page, is it relevant, right? Does the landing page have similar copy to the keywords that you're bidding on? And again, this kind of goes back to the ad rank threshold. There's a few of these factors Google tells you impacts ad rank. Then all of them ultimately come down to relevancy, right? It can be kind of confusing digging through their documentation. Just make sure your landing page is relevant, make sure your ad is relevant, make sure your keywords are relevant, right? And that will always improve your ad rank and your auction time ad quality, right? So I want to dive a little bit more into ad quality, because you can even go deeper into the documentation that Google has to see really what is ad quality and like how do you determine a strong ad versus a poor ad. So Google has the 3 factors to ad quality: expected click-through rate, ad landing page, and ad relevancy. So advertisers only pay when you actually receive a click on their ad, and their order isn't just based on bids, right? So Google wants to show more useful ads in higher positions on the search result page. And that's why expected click-through rate is so important. So Google, again, has an algorithm to determine if an ad is going to have higher click-through rate or lower click-through rate. Again, it goes back to putting keywords or search terms that you are bidding on in your ads, right? And when you actually create an ad, we'll have a whole other course to dedicated to ads. Google will actually tell you, hey, put this keyword in your headline, put 3 new keywords in your descriptions. And that's basically part of how Google can determine what your expected click-through rate is. The second piece is going to be ad landing page. Again, when someone clicks on your ad and they hit a landing page, does the landing page make sense compared to the ad they clicked on, right? If you're saying, get a free quote, here's a free ebook, does your landing page actually give out, an ebook, or do you have free quote buttons on your page? Is it for the service they're looking for, right? Again, really important that you get the landing page right to get your ad quality up. Google does scan your whole landing page to, find the relevant ad copy in there. And then the third piece is going to be just ad relevancy. Again, it's basically, expected click-through rate plus ad landing page equals ad relevancy. Make sure everything is relevant. Make sure your keyword is relevant. Make sure your landing page is relevant. And, all 3 of those things are going to help improve your ad quality. Okay, so, final thoughts. If you're still here, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I wanted to touch a little bit just on part 1 to this course, right? Understand the auction behind Google Ads. The better you can understand how it works, the better you can figure out what is wrong, what is working, how do I make adjustments to my ads and to my bids, right? It's really vital to understand the ecosystem so you can have scalable ads. To determine your cost per click bids, go into the keyword planner. Again, we're going to have another video, another part of this course, just diving into the keyword planner and finding the right bids, right? But understand, how competitive certain searches are, certain keyword categories, so you have a good expectation of the costs associated. And then 3, focus on ad rank and ad quality, especially small budget advertisers that have limited budgets. Focus on your ad rank and your ad quality, because it's something you can do that can get your costs down and be in good favor with Google. So yeah, that's everything. We're going to link to part 2, and we'll see you in the next one.